All right, we made this happen. I'm here with Staz. He is the founder and creator of Hedgie, a very early play to earn NFT game. The contract went live October 23rd, 2018. But when I went through his Telegram history, it goes all the way back to late 2017 of the thought and the idea of the community being built. I was seriously amazed when I came across this, and there was an existing community in Telegram and Discord, had about 400 members with some recent posts. Stazie had been posting and building. And when you go to this website of Hedgie, it's these little cute hedgehogs. Right now, the collection is about 1,100. But from what Stazie has told me and from what I've read, he's going to complete the collection here soon and cap it at 10K and have the rest of the sale here in I believe February of 2022. A cool component to this, which, as you guys know, I'm a big believer in Mooncats, is that this collection also has mints across many years, 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So that fits into the category with CryptoKitties and Mooncats as mints across 5-year time span. Staz, thank you for coming on and sharing your time with us. How's it going?
Good. It's good to meet you, Jake. Good to be here with you. Thank you for digging it up and contacting me.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I was seriously amazed when I started going through the history of first the Telegram channel and finding all of these videos from 2018 and 2019, tutorials, collaborations with other early NFT projects like Marble, and you had like a Scully's post collaboration as well. You were going to crypto conferences in 2018. And at some point you even, with the native token CURIO in the game, you actually purchased coffee at a coffee shop in your area. That's an early pioneer.
Yeah, back in the day when we first started, we thought that our game token CURIO will be like applied to, we'll be able to spend it at local businesses in different cities where our players are. That was our first initial kind of strategy. And we signed a few businesses here in Toronto. And shortly after that, there was another company trying to do similar thing called Bonds. And they started doing the same thing. But we pivoted shortly after because obviously like very cumbersome to sign local businesses one by one, especially if you're not in the city where you're at. And then we just pivoted to online. And since then, the CURIO coin utility is just digital things, mostly other NFTs that you can buy on our marketplace.
I'm not aware, and I'm sure some of the archaeologists will correct me, but an in-game currency being spent for a real-world item, I don't know if that had ever been done prior to 2018 when the game was live, or 2019. Very incredible vision.
Probably not. I mean, that was very ambitious. It didn't quite work, but it worked to a certain extent. And yeah, we had a bunch of people buying real things with our coin. At some point, we teamed up with this hot pepper community, like, and people bought like all kinds of hot peppers online with our CURIO coin. So we did have some examples of that, but I think it makes more sense. It fits better with the narrative and with what we're trying to do is the play to earn game. You just spend the coin on digital things.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, the vision. There's so much history tied into this, and I guess the best way to start would be go all the way back to the beginning. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna share a screen with you here in a second because I went all the way back to your website, and I don't know why it's not coming up right now, but we'll go back here in a second. Your first website, Hedgie.io, it first came about in 2018, and you had a roadmap. It was very ambitious, but early April 2018. But going back to some of the message boards, they talked about how you thought about this idea towards the end of 2017. Can you just talk to us a little bit about the conception of the idea and how it came to be back in the early day of crypto?
Yeah, the inspiration for us was CryptoKitties, like when they blew up the Ethereum network one day late fall 2017, when the Ethereum network came to a halt with people breeding cats and trading cats. I saw that, and me and my business partner, the co-founder of Hedgie, we saw that, and for me, it was one of those moments, one of those things where you look at that business, the CryptoKitties, and I thought, wow, why didn't I start that? Like, that was pretty awesome. It's like, and I can't remember if I already knew about CryptoPunks back then or other projects. Probably may or may not, but CryptoKitties was the instigator of that. Creative juices started flowing. We started like bouncing ideas and came up with Hedgie. Why is it Hedgie, the hedgehog? It goes back to like our childhood back in the USSR. Like we have one of these very iconic cartoons from early 70s called Hedgehog in the Fog. And actually, I think it's either like number one or very close to the top of the like most iconic cartoons of the world by some Japanese people, like the track cartoons, like, and it is truly iconic. It's kind of very naive, but also very deep philosophical cartoon about this little hedgehog who travels in the fog and goes through various adventures. So that was the inspiration, and we created the character, called it Hedgie. The name was pretty cool, and went off to the races from there.
Absolutely beautiful. So I went back on the Wayback Machine, and I went back to the earliest.
Jesus, man, I can't believe you could dig this up.
Yeah,
Wow.
the earliest remnants of Hedgie.com. So let's go through this one by one. First, $4.99 buying Hedgie, and back in the day, I know you were able to purchase it with a credit card at the time. How hard was it to go through this process back when crypto did not have the semi-legitimacy from the mainstream as it did today?
Yeah, that was exactly the motivation for us, because at the time, MetaMask has just started. I think they launched sometime before that. Like, it was fairly new. There was not many exchanges, and it was not easy for a regular user to buy Ethereum. So we thought, why not make it easier, remove the entry hurdles for people and let them get in. And that's why we built the tool that allowed people to buy a Hedgie with a credit card, and we handled the minting process on the back end directly with Ethereum. So that was the kind of inspiration behind that. I guess the world was completely different back then. As you know, Ethereum was, I can't even remember, like $300 or something. And the gas fees were like pennies. So we could do that back then. Obviously, the world has changed dramatically, and it's no longer the case. But
oh my God,
that was the thoughts behind it.
Yeah, gas fees now are in the hundreds, and most people aren't even batting an eye to that. Cool part I saw about this, you just mentioned that you were doing the minting on the back end in the beginning. Over 6 million possible Hedgies because of the color spectrum. I know we mentioned that right now there's only about 1,100 Hedgies that exist, and soon you're going to cap it off at 10,000 and have a sale in February, which we'll cover at the end. Why have this like customizable feature, or introduce this customizable feature to colorize your own Hedgies? Right.
So that was how we conceived of the collection back in the day. It was tied to hex codes and hex code is how the color on the internet is determined with RGB, and it's a 6-digit code, and there is that number 16,777,216 is the total number of possible hex codes that exist on the internet. And so we went with that, and we gave people the color picker tool. So in the beginning, you could play with the color picker and find the hedges that you like and mint and purchase that one. And I guess our thought behind that was I can't remember if we knew about CryptoPunks or some other collections like CURIO cards that did exist back in the day. And then CryptoKitties, of course, they have no limit on the supply. You can breed cats in perpetuity, indefinitely. And we thought that this was a good strategy to tie the character to this color hex code color situation. And in retrospect, I think that was it's better. It's I think now I'm coming to realize the 10K classic number of maximum supply for a collection has proven to be optimal. It seems to be the right number to galvanize the community around the project, and that's why we've pivoted again to that, just to complete the collection and to finalize it. But the hex code, and we can talk about that later, when we talk about the gameplay itself. But the hex code will continue to be useful, and I can tell you how exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. So here we have again, this is from April 28th, 2018, what I'm showing you guys.
My goodness.
CURIO, which is the underlying currency in the game and the native token. I don't know if there had been any native tokens. I know Crypto Bots, I believe, was from early 2017. Had you, when you decided to introduce CURIO to your game, had you been aware of any other play-to-earn games that had existed in the ecosystem, or had networked with any of them?
No, not really. I think back in that day, that term didn't even exist, or at least it wasn't prominent as it is now. No one was talking about play to earn. That wasn't part of the conversation. I think Axie was starting around the same time. We met Jiho at the San Francisco crypto conference in May 2018, and he was pitching Axie at the time, and they were starting. So I don't know if they already had the whole idea as conceived and implemented as they obviously do so successfully now. I don't know that. Maybe they were working on it at the time as well. But yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't personally aware of any other.
It's a true pioneer. So here's the Hedgie itself, and I'll cover some of them. These are absolutely adorable. So here goes through some of the original ideas. Telegram was much more popular back then than Discord was. I just love that it's $5 to buy, and back then that was many people still were questioning the price value at the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously completely different world. I don't even know if Discord existed back then, to be honest. Maybe. But yeah, like you said, Telegram was where all the crypto communities were at the time. And the $5 price tag, I don't know what to say about that. It's a totally different world.
Yeah. So here's a medium that I found from 2018 November, talking about how to mint your Hedgies back in the day. MetaMask was in its early days. The syncing. Here, we could dive into some of the gameplay, because I know you can have up to 4 Hedgies in your wallet at a time. Was that created specifically to the gameplay, or were you trying to limit users coming in and just acquiring all the Hedgies and preventing the gameplay from reaching some sort of optimization?
Yeah. I think I I think tying it to the gameplay and a lot like limiting it so people can have more fair play. I guess we were thinking like because the more hedges you have, the more coin you could earn. So that was our attempt at the time to kind of make it more fair to people who could not afford like to spend a lot.
Yeah, and here's the updated website. There's a Hedgie house. This was something.
Clean your house, man.
I know. I was having some errors with. I know. I need to. I was having some errors with with signing in with my ledger to it. I've been talking with the dev of who's going to help with it. But I found this to be quite unique and quite cool. So basically, I'll give my explanation from what I've discovered, and then I'll let you correct me because it'll probably be probably wrong. You have 4 Hedgies and you put them on these journeys. There's 4 different journeys that they could go on. And over the duration of, I think it's between 1 hour to 24 hours, you could choose. They acquire CURIO, and they can acquire these items. There's like earth, wind, fire. And with these different elements, you could come in and you can buy different items for your house. And then in the Hedgie house, it heals your Hedgie so that it could go back on a journey faster. Is that like the basic idea?
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. So when you send your Hedgie to the journey, it uses up energy, and then once you come back in the house, like when you build the furniture in the house, it increases the energy recovery. So you gain your energy back faster. You can go to another journey or participate in battles.
Yep. And there's a leaderboard as well. So this on the right-hand side, for those who are watching on YouTube, this is CURIO 61, and then James, who's in first place. And this is the last 7 days. If we click all time, I'm sure the leaderboard will change slightly. But you could show these are some of the people who have been here since the beginning or recently buying these CURIOs. So I want to try to find... there was something on the original website that you allow for purchases. I think this is because my wallet's connected. There was a CryptoPunk that sold on your website in 2020. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that came to be? Obviously, you're a CryptoPunk holder. You have a CryptoPunk as your avatar, so you've probably held that bad boy for quite some time. Talk to us a little bit about the idea of selling other NFTs on your website, purchasable in CURIO.
Right. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we thought CURIO could be used at all kinds of local businesses. That didn't quite work out. So we pivoted to just online digital goods, and we started partnering up with other NFT projects. We had a big one was marble cards. So you could purchase marble cards for CURIO. Back in the day when again, Ethereum gas was like pennies, and you could mint marble cards for about $2. That all made sense. And yeah, we had lots of our players discovering marble cards and getting into it without having to spend real money, just by using our in-game coin. And that's how it came about. And from my own, at the time, I also started collecting the NFT art. It wasn't even called NFT back then. I mean, I guess the term existed, but everyone was referring to these things as crypto collectibles and ERC 721. And so I've purchased a couple of punks back in the day. And then, as you mentioned, we had a few other NFTs listed here on the marketplace that people were able to purchase with CURIO. And one of them was this punk. This punk is, you can see on your screen.
Yep, Punk, CryptoPunk 3193.
Right. Yeah. So that was, and I can't remember how much CURIO but it was expensive in CURIO. It was like one of the most expensive things in the marketplace. And then I remember it took a while. It was kind of an experiment. to see like if there's going to be any interest and how long it's going to take. And I remember it was sitting there in the marketplace for at least a couple of weeks, maybe even longer. And then some of our players purchased it, and I've transferred the token. Like if you go to Larva Labs website to this Punks page, you will see that wallet still holds it, and that's the simple Punk that they have. Good for them. Holding it for a couple of years, and yeah. So, but that was the idea, like to make other NFTs available to our players through CURIO Coin, and since then we've refined that, and like right now it's a little bit outdated. Like you can see the marble cards are still there. There's some individual artworks, and the one on the top is actually by our CTO, who is also an artist, and this is Vitalik made in Hedgies. So he makes this collages with he wrote his own custom AI that helps him put together these collages from like limited number of elements to create a bigger picture. So here Vitalik is made with Hedgies. So this is our tribute to Vitalik, of course, for creating Ethereum that made Hedgie and all the other projects possible.
There's so many properties incorporated into Hedgie that are becoming popularized now. Braindrops is kind of an AI platform which has brought AI artists the ability to sell collections, which has caught some traction recently. The Marble Cards is also another, I believe, 2018 project, which never caught a lot of heat, but has a lot of collaborations within other projects. So that the fact that you had them incorporated, and then the first sale looks like you had on here is actually Arvatars, which another early on-chain project that you collaborated with to sell on here.
Avatars, I can't remember when they launched, but it wasn't that early, and it wasn't the first. I mean, we've had a bunch of other things here that are no longer listed. Some of them were sold out, and some of them, like we removed some of the like physical goods that we had here. But yeah, Avatar was one of them. I've personally aped into that collection when I saw it from Manta, and so I had a bunch of avatars, and I think we listed a few of them here, and they were all sold out fairly soon afterwards.
Truly iconic. Let's dive. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk a little bit about the underlying ERC20 token, CURIO. Going through and excavating some of the posts in Telegram, one of the ideas was to get it listed on an exchange. Unfortunately, it appears that never happened. How tough was it to try to make that happen? Is there still an intention to? And I guess kind of like what is the current supply, if you're aware of CURIO?
Right. Yeah. So yes, that was always an intention, and it is still an intention, and that's one of the most prominent items on our 2022 roadmap, our roadmap 2.0, if you will. We will definitely do that, and now it's much easier. Back in the day, there were no decentralized exchanges. That was even before the first decentralized exchanges showed up. Like I forget the name of it, but there were something Ether
Delta.
Ether Delta came along, but that was so cumbersome. The UI was like totally out of reach for regular people. Like so we never went through with minting the coin on chain, and then the crypto winter hit us in like late 2018, I guess, and for a couple of years, lots of early projects died out, and there was like not a lot of activity. And during that time period, we hibernated for the most part. Like there were some changes on the team, some people left, and at some point I was thinking like, oh, I should probably just shut it down. that it's not happening anymore. But people kept playing. I was looking at the stats, and I was like, people kept playing the game. Always like we had pretty steady engagement, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll put it on the autopilot and support it to the best of my ability. So like we've kind of like scaled back to the minimum required to support the site, and just supported it. People kept playing always. And then obviously when things came back in 2021 last year, I was like, okay, well, I should go back and try to resurrect the project. And I started building the new team. Took me a while to rebuild the team and so on. But long story short, now we're back on track, and minting the in-game coin on chain is one of the big objectives for 2022. And obviously it's much easier now with Uniswap and other similar services. Like we don't need to depend on anybody's approval, like to be listed on a centralized exchange. We can just mint the coin on chain, create a trading pair, provide liquidity, and off we go. So the supply and all the tokenomics is still work in progress. It's going to be all like hashed out in the upcoming months. And I think we'll definitely in 2022, like we want to definitely do that. Probably Q3, Q4 is when that will happen. And we'll figure out the distribution mechanism and like a fair distribution, and like so it'll all happen later in the year.
And as everything gets hashed out internally and you continue to build, you still have these ERC 721 characters that exist, and in the form of Hedgies. This collection right now, I pulled up OpenSea. There's 322 owners. Floor price is 0.1. About 1,100 items. There is a variety of these Hedgies. As you can see, there's really colorful ones, which kind of exist near the floor. And then we see like a COVID Hedgie. There's a Bitcoin Hedgie. And you start seeing these customized, a Santa Hedgie. I've done some exploring. I saw there's like a Raptors Hedgie. Here's a Canada one, being located in Canada. Where do these non-essential, unironically, Hedgies pop up from? Are these created and designed by you on the back end and distributed in some form? Where do these come from?
Yeah, so these are what we call like special edition Hedgies. We've released a few of them through the early months of the game, like in the first couple of years, we've been doing that actively. Like, so there was a collection of 32 FIFA Hedgies when commemorating the 2018 World Cup, and then there were a bunch of others, like the Halloween edition. Halloween has 24 unique one-of-one Hedgies made for that, and then there were a couple of others, like one for Canada Day, one for the Independence Day, the COVID Hedgie. When COVID hit, we released 10 of those. So they're all like this limited special editions. Like the Bitcoin ones has 3 kinds, like the bronze one, the silver one, which is the bronze one has 100 units maximum. I can't remember how many actually got minted, but below 100. And then the silver one had 10, and one was gold unique. So those are all like on OpenSea, you can always like filter by those editions, and you can see all the special ones.
Yeah, well, when you first created Hedgie, OpenSea obviously had just opened its doors in the early 2018. Were you looking at any other marketplaces to sell Hedgies other than OpenSea? And what was that process like getting Hedgie listed on OpenSea?
Oh man, if I can remember, but you're right. Like I think we met the Devin on the same conference in May 2018 in San Francisco. I think they were there. And that's when OpenSea was just starting as well. And we met also this other guy, I can't remember his name, like John or something like that, who started, I think it was called eMoon.io at the time, another exchange, another third-party marketplace for NFTs. So we listed Hedges on, I don't know if it's still around, it was eMoon.io, I believe. We listed on that one, and there was another one back in the day, a big one that was even bigger than OpenSea. I think they started a little bit earlier, and I'm struggling to remember the name, but there was another big NFT marketplace. Forgot what it's called, but it was pretty big, and we tried to list there. I think the UI was really cumbersome, and I can't even remember if we succeeded. But then once OpenSea came along, and it was fairly straightforward. I mean, it was a little bit cumbersome back in the day, like everything was, but we've listed on OpenSea, and since then, like OpenSea started gaining momentum slowly, and that's where we just focus just on one exchange, on one marketplace.
There's so much history, and now we're about 30 minutes into this conversation. The way that I uncovered you is through this movement, which we discussed a little bit before recording, this new idea of NFT archaeology, which I'm assuming back then when you created this, it was not a thing. We probably would have never conceived it to be a thing. I'm going all the way back, and disclaimer, I bought this because I was just amazed that the first ever minted Hedgie existed. And you could see right here, it's minted on the blockchain October 23rd, 2018. And it is the special edition World Cup 2018 champion Hedgie, France, giving them, the nod. And you see some other ones back here in the very early. Whoever's watching this, number 0.8 is for the third ever minted Hedgie, still there. That'll probably be gone at some point pretty soon after this post. These are so cool. Tell me your thoughts on this NFT archaeology movement as somebody who's an early mover in the play to earn space. Were you aware that this kind of thing existed? And does it feel good to have Hedgie part of this as a part of history?
Yeah, my friend told me about, I think a month ago or so, a couple months ago probably, Gary V posted something about historical NFTs, and until then I wasn't aware that this was a thing, and then he told me, I looked up the post, Gary V talking about how he was crazy about digging up projects from the past, and he was saying how the history matters, and this is like, I mean, it's only 3 years ago, right? And it's already ancient history, it seems. And then I saw some other people posting about it. I believe like Matty posted about it, maybe some others. And I started thinking about, like, yeah, actually it makes sense, of course, like, CURIO cards, CryptoPunks, and Mooncats, like they all have this historical provenance, and then Hedgie was following in the footsteps of those giants, like right after CryptoKitties, early 2018. So it was good. It was good to see that this. I mean, like you're saying right now, it's a movement. I didn't know it was a movement. I thought it was just, some people expressing their opinion and like digging up these historical projects, which is very cool. Obviously, history is important in collecting in all kinds of collectibles. So it's no surprise, like the same applies to NFTs. And yeah, it's great to be a part of that and take our maybe a humble small place in that movement. That's awesome. And that gives me more inspiration to complete the collection and move on to other things. We have big ambitions and big goals for 2022. Like it was our renewed roadmap. So yeah, no, it's been great to see that.
There's within the historical NFT space, the excavators have gone all the way back to Namecoin. I don't know what your how deep your experience goes within the crypto space, but there are non-fungible assets that were minted on Namecoin, domains from 2011, 2012, and then images starting up in 2014. Then you have like Bitcoin assets on Counterparty, like Rare Pepes. I guess I should just start here. How deep does your experience go back with crypto in general?
Right. So I got into crypto like in a big way. I've heard about Bitcoin even before, probably like around 2013. Didn't pay any attention to that until about 2016, 2017. Probably 2017 is when it all kind of like came home for me. I've always been into arts, and I follow the arts. Like I really love modern art, and but it was never accessible for normal people like me. But once the kind of NFT and the ERC 721 came along, it instantly made sense to me in terms of ownership of digital assets. Like that was never a stretch. Like for me, that it just made sense because I've been in digital, like in general, like I've been building websites since late 90s. That was just what I did for a living, and so it made sense. And I started getting deeper into space in probably around last half of 2017, and then discovered CryptoKitties, and that's when it all like hit home for me, and I completely dived into the deep end, so to say, went all in on that space. And was I aware of other things? No, I wasn't. And like the CURIO cards, like I didn't know CURIO cards existed when we came up with the name for our own in-game coin, CURIO. Like we didn't know anything about CURIO cards. Had I known about that, I would probably call it something different. So, and then CryptoPunks are probably discovered around the same time. Mooncats way later. And then some of the projects you're mentioning, obviously, like once I started looking into this with the resurgence of NFTs and breaking the floodgates and going mainstream in 2021, I've learned about all those other things that came before, like colored coins on Bitcoin and some of the things you mentioned. All those I learned just like, probably in second half of 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's likely for all of us as well. I think even though you weren't aware of CURIO, having the name kind of plays hand in hand together. It kind of fits the narrative, even if it isn't directly tied to it. Having a CURIO name kind of fits the memeology, kind of this mimetic investing that's becoming popularized through NFTs and through crypto. It's a very fascinating interest. But now we sit today here in 2022. You have 1,100 of this collection. You want to cap it off at 10K. What are your thoughts about this upcoming, I guess you could call it sale, to finally complete the Hedgie collection? Is it going to be more of the same of the yesteryears where you just pick a color from the 16 million options, or do you have something different for this upcoming plan?
Yeah, actually it's different. And this is one of the kind of lessons we learned from our original launch, that the differentiation just by color, by hex code, is not enough, because they all kind of look the same, just the color is different. And so we've devised the generative edition. This will be the generative edition with like close to 100 different attributes, combining into like unique hedges. Each one will be unique, programmatically generated with a bunch of attributes. So that will be the final release to complete the collection. And we have a few, if you go to Discord, you will see like a few preview images there. I haven't been like widely publicizing any of this because my thought was like we really need to focus on building right now, like, and then once we're ready we'll start talking about things. But then of course it was out of my hands. Somebody else started talking about it before we were ready to come back in the big way. Like, yeah, if you go to the preview channel right there, you can see a few.
Oh, these are dope.
These are not entirely final, but they're close to final. We're still working out some little details on this generative hedges, but yeah, you can see kind of where we're going with this. And I particularly love the tiger mask, man, right there. It's the year of the tiger, the 2022.
I like this jail one with the ball. Gangsta Hedgie. I like this. See, this is, speaking of the Discord, this is what amazed me, and I hope we can get this up much higher. 443 people in the Discord. It's just it's been a devout community ever since the beginning. Ever since. Here's
yeah. And like you're right. Yeah, like these people, there's probably like most of them have been with us since 2018, 2019. And we haven't been focusing on growth at all. Like we were just like head down. I mean, it took a while to rebuild the team. Now we have a strong team in place, and we've been head down just building things. There's still a lot to do, like updating the site, publishing all the new content, like the new roadmap and all that, and finalizing the generative edition, the final release, Hedges to complete the collection, all of that. So that's what we've been focusing on. And then once that is all done, like I guess we'll start focusing more on inviting other people to join in and so on.
Is there a plan for has it been set in stone the minting cost for the remaining about 8,800 Hedgies? Yeah.
So we've decided to go with the classic kind of like classic numbers. It's 0.08.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. Yeah, that is the classic number. I'm glad that you don't keep increasing it. It seems like these minting costs continually go up to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. We've seen 0.5 on some of these.
Yeah. No, we just want to make it easy for new people to join in. It would be good to have more people join the community and allow us to focus on the new development. We have big plans for the game itself, and that's where I want to put all our efforts in once we're done with the collection.
The future may be bright. Just be prepared once the flood comes, man. And they start hanging out in that Discord. You're gonna see it could become frustrating at times, but it's cool to revive and reignite teams that have been building even through the crypto winter, where a lot of the new NFT goers have not experienced that. In a sense, it was very depressing and very despair, but survival was very important for a lot of these projects, which did not happen.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like it was more than once we were close to shutting things down, but I'm glad we didn't. Like I've always I didn't want to. I felt responsible with our early supporters, and we always had this devoted community of like people that kept playing the game and engaging. And so it's like, okay, tighten the belts and like support them. And that was a long run, like the crypto winter back in the day, like a totally different world. And I'm glad we stuck through, and now we're back. And hopefully we have a lot of good things planned. If I may say a couple of words of like where we are going once this collection is finalized. We want to like put a lot of effort into improving the game. We want to run the first official tournament for for the new people coming in, it will be limited to just the new edition hedges, the generative ones, because we want to give everyone a fair chance at winning. There's just two dynamics in the game. Like, you go to the journeys, you collect loot, you level up your Hedgie, and then you participate in battles. It's like PvP, one-on-one battles, and you stake some CURIO coin to initiate the battle, and then the winner takes all. And those are the dynamics. But we want to run a tournament for the new people, because obviously, like, some of our early users from 2018, their hedges are monsters, and like, the new people won't stand the chance fighting against them. So it'll all be limited to just the new edition, and we want to run a really cool big tournament with amazing prizes. We're still working out the details, so that's the one thing we want to do. And after that, we want to focus on what we call this NFT battle arena, where battles take place, and invite other projects. So maybe like you can come in with another project and compete against Hedgies. It'll be like the inter-species tournaments we can run, so to say. And then, of course, another big one on the roadmap for this year is minting the in-game coin on chain. So those are all our objectives. And I have something else. The one other thing I want to do is to launch Hedgie Art Club. So this goes along with our initial inspiration to support other art by making it available and to our players through Marketplace. And as part of that, we are building this Hedgie Art Club, where we will trade NFTs and people can become members of the art club. There's more details of that later. We'll publish them later, but that's another of our objectives, to support up and coming artists and expose them to larger community.
So the existing Hedgies today, they'll essentially just become relics and more of a collectible, since they won't be able to participate in this upcoming game, because obviously these people have been using these Hedgies and training them for years. So the newer collection won't even be able to compete in the arena and the game. Are there any other plans outside of them just kind of existing, or will any holders that have Hedgies now be able to redeem the newer ones at a 1-to-1? Have you thought of anything around that?
Yes, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So, like, all our current holders will be able to mint the new Hedgies 1-to-1 for 0 plus gas. So, like, number one, we always want to support our early users, and so that's what's going to happen. There's about 1,100 of them currently, and that's how many of the new edition will be reserved for the community. So they can mint them 1-to-1, one for each Hedgie they hold of the current ones. And that way they will also be able to participate in the new tournament with their new Hedgies that they've minted, just not with the old ones who may be like super strong monsters. So yeah, so that's definitely in plan. And also, like, they'll still be able to participate in the game completely, like playing and engaging in individual battles, just not in the official tournament, which will be reserved just for the new edition. But everything else is totally like, we always want to support our early players.
Interesting. So there's some game theoretics tied to this, because if you could buy a Hedgie right now at 0.11 and the gas cost is 0.08, then you're actually it's almost even, but now you get a historic gem as well. So you'll see, the historical aspect is really what's fascinating to me, as the people who are listening to know I'm a big Mooncap person, and that everything's been minted across 5 different years. Hedgies has the same idea, right? You have the COVID Hedgie from 2020. Is it meaningful? there's a lot to understand within this world of Hedgie, but I admire your tenacity to keep building, because as we've discovered, there are a lot of abandoned projects where the devs don't want to have to do anything with the future development of this project, and so to have you still at the helm, it's very admirable.
Cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. One last source of alpha. When is the planned drop for the remaining about 9,000 Hedgies?
Yeah, so that will be hopefully in early February. Like we're at the final stages of finalizing all of that, but first it'll be open to the current Hedgie holders first, so they'll be able to go in and mint the new ones like one to one for each of their existing Hedges. Once that's done, and we'll probably give 1 week to that, and then once that's done, we'll announce or maybe like even earlier, we'll announce the date. It'll hopefully be like first or second week of February when it'll open to public.
Awesome. We're going to be very excited for that. For those who made it this far, where do I send them to follow you or get involved, or anything you'd like to mention to help support you and the Hedgie team along this way?
Yeah, I think the best is to join our Discord. I guess you can find the links. The easiest thing to do is to go to hedgie.io website, and then all the links to other socials will be there. And also you can easily find us on OpenSea by typing Hedgie. Just make sure you're looking at the verified collection. And the links are also there. So either go to the site or go to OpenSea and then join the Discord. We can also follow us on Twitter, Hello Hedgie. And yeah, those are easily findable on the website.
Well, Staz, thank you for sharing your time with us. This conversation was incredible to learn even more about the history of the play to earn. Hopefully we could do this again sometime in the future. I'll definitely be participating in the game, minting some new Hedgies, and following you along your journey. So thank you again.
Thanks so much, Jake. I appreciate it. Yeah, great job that you're doing. I think like this whole NFT archaeology movement is amazing. I was like so delighted to see that. So it's awesome. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next time.